Oh, there we go.
So the
And
GI Bill, people traveling.
and the GI Bill. Another great example of that is our generation saw the man on the moon. We saw going from when we went to college in engineering, we used slide rules. Along in about 1960s, Texas Instruments came out with a little handheld computer that was amazing. We could do all sorts of logarithms and addition and division and all of that. And we were just astounded with this little computer, and then the first computers that you have today, their speed and their capacity was probably less than 1,000th of what Carrie's portable computer is.
They're huge.
And so, you know, what did our generation do for the world? We made life easier for everybody. The facilities, everything that we have, and we have been consumers, creators and consumers. I'm not sure we've given back as much as we should have.
And you know, you talk about human rights. The World War II did a lot toward starting the human rights movement, because in World War II there were African American black units, separate units. But by the time Poppop was in the Air Force in Korea, they were integrating them in, and there were no longer just black units that was integrated.
All integrated.
Were the black soldiers treated differently under the GI Bill for education?
No.
No? Okay.
None.
No, it was, insofar as the federal government was concerned, for the military personnel, all were treated the same.
And you know, they used American Indians in World War II as great. They used their language, but the people couldn't break the code because nobody knew that.
They were the code breakers.
The Navajo language. Yeah.
The Navajos did the
So
code.
it was the start of the liberation of women, World War II, because that's when the men went to war, the women had to go in the factories.
And also into the military, first time.
Yeah. So
They were not allowed anywhere near combat, but they performed a lot of office jobs and things that released men for those
that have made
combat
things
positions.
easier for your generation. And, when I went to college and was in mathematics, I think there were 2 other women in the mathematics department with me at that time.
Well, when we were freshmen, there were just a little over 8,000 students in the whole university, of which about 1,300 to 1,400 were women. Our ratio was 7 to 1 at Iowa State. And Mellie was one of 2 in the math department. I can only remember 2 being in engineering department. And very few in the agricultural department, because the home economics school was the big school. And, you know, it was textiles, it was food, it was one of the major publications in the United States that's influenced a lot of people, Meredith Publishing out of Des Moines, Iowa, Better Homes and Gardens. What's the other? They published several magazines of family life and how to take care of them.
Do you want to talk about Kairos for a few minutes we have left, or what would you like to talk about?
Well, for a couple of minutes, I'm interested in knowing when exactly you lived in Europe and where, and what it was like to live there, what your community was like, and if you still feel like you have a connection to living there, because just, you know, in this short.
Well, we initially moved insofar as family we moved to Chelmsford, England, which is about 65 miles north of London, and we lived. Millie was there. I was there prior to her coming because of the rules of the military at the time were different, and then they changed them when Kennedy became president. That the dependents could still go overseas. So Millie was delayed. Millie and the kids were delayed coming overseas. They lived in England with me for 1 year. And then we moved to Toul-Rosier, France, which is south of Metz and a little bit north of Nancy, near, the town starts with P. It's where the Statue of Liberty was developed. It was the steel foundry, steel and iron foundry community. It was interesting because that community was, the local city government was communist in France at the time.
Which was exactly when?
And 1962 and 93, and we came home in the fall of 1964, and during that period of time we had the opportunity to visit Italy and Switzerland and Germany. Went to Germany several times and went to Denmark, and of course we lived very close to Belgium, and we would leave on a Saturday morning and drive up to Luxembourg and have lunch, or over to Belgium and have lunch, and maybe a little bit of Germany, and we'd do all France, Germany, Belgium, and Luxembourg in one afternoon, one day. We'd leave in the morning and be home at night for dinner. And we've driven it. Distances in Europe were so much less than they are in the United States. We were kind of astounded.